Opening hook. The paper hit the kitchen table like a slap, and for a second I thought the sound was the whole world breaking. "Pack your things, Ma. This house is mine now." He said it like he was naming a delivery. No tremor, no apology. My heart did that small, stupid flip you get when you realize the rules have changed, and then I realized I'd been playing a different game the whole time. My name is June Carter, and I raised a kid who signed a paper and turned into a stranger. Yeah, that happened. Act 1. The Quiet Life. They never saw. I wasn't flashy, never wanted to be. I cleaned offices at night for 27 years, pushed a cart down silent hallways while suits were hanging up their ties and turning off lights, and I listened. People say janitors are invisible like we're furniture with hands. They were wrong. We just get used to pretending not to see. I put that listening to work. I learned to notice patterns, to remember names, to hear numbers dropped into casual conversation, and slowly, like planting seeds in a winter garden, I invested in them. Not for show, not for bragging rights. For safety. For a cushion in case life decided to be cruel. I raised Tyler from age 8, mopped his tears away the night his mother died, cheered so loud at his high school graduation my ribs hurt. I walked him down the aisle when his father was nowhere to be found. He called me Mom. He called me Love. I thought that meant something. Neighbors called me Ma'am. Co-workers called me Junie. Tyler's wife, Lauren, called me names I won't repeat because it sounds petty now. She wore the sort of smile that cost as much as it looked, and she had opinions about what a family should look like. The deed is in his mother's name. She said the week she moved in as if that trailed a scent that justified everything. "You're just a long-term guest." So I packed a bag. One suitcase. My whole visible life in cotton and a toothbrush. Tyler filmed me leaving like it was a tutorial for how to be heartless, posted it with a caption that read something like, "Finally free." Some people clapped. Some people nodded like judges. I walked to a bus I'd ridden for decades and sat in the back and watched my neighborhood shrink away like scenery in a bad dream. Act 2. The Turning Point. The shelter smelled like bleach and hope that had run out. Fluorescent lights hummed like they had better things to do. I learned the rules: fast, be quiet, be useful. Don't make problems. I did what I always did. Organized the food closet, balanced the dinner budget, made things run a little smoother. Folks started to look at me different. Not with the soft pity I used to get, but with practical respect. It's funny. Competence still works when dignity's stripped down to its bones. On a slow afternoon, a kid on the other cot showed me a video. Tyler grilling in my backyard laughter and beer and new furniture that I'd once polished. He'd posted it as if my leaving were some kind of graduation, and people congratulated him. Good boundaries. Read a comment. Tough love. Read another. I felt the old, something, a hot thing behind my ribs. Hurt, sure, but also a strange quiet amusement. Because I had a secret. I had never been as poor as everyone assumed. I had in fact been building a life in the shadows. Not to lord it over anyone, but because money makes people targets, and I wanted Tyler to grow up loved for his head and his heart not as a ticket. While the city slept, I listened and learned and slowly moved pennies into places where pennies became houses and houses became portfolios. Nobody should be surprised if a quiet person is quietly capable. People are always surprised anyway. When I logged into my accounts at the library one morning, the numbers made my hands tremble for a different reason. Not disbelief, but the weight of choices. The portfolio had grown into a number with more zeros than I ever planned: stocks and bonds and property deeds penned in clean fonts. I thought about Tyler in his new suit posted by the grill, and I thought about every afternoon I'd spent making mac and cheese at 2 a.m. so he could study. So I went home. Not to beg, not to battle, but to speak. He opened the door like a man who expected me to vanish. Lauren sat on the sofa with her manicured nails tapping indifference. I put a leather folder on the table, the same table he'd slapped an eviction notice on a week earlier. "Open it," I said. Their faces went through a set of temperatures: confusion, disbelief, shame that tried to hide as anger. The folder had bank statements from 5 bank deeds to brownstones and a modest condo and numbers that read like a foreign country's map, enough to make you think twice about what you assume. "Where did you get this?" Tyler asked, like the answer should be a fairy tale. I told the truth, short and plain. I listened. I invested. I protected you by staying small in the world, so no one would come for you. I thought that would make love easy. It didn't. It made me invisible. Then I hit play on a little recorder. His voice filled the room saying the things he'd said when he thought I couldn't hear that I wasn't real family, that I was freeloading. Lauren had laughed. The room got very small. I could have done anything then. Rage is a big curtain. But I wanted clarity. I told them what I planned. Legal changes to disinherit if they chose to behave like strangers, or a chance to publicly apologize and commit to service if they wanted to earn back anything. Not because money should punish, but because humility should be visible. If you embarrass someone in private, your redemption shouldn't be private either. Act 3. The Public Reckoning and the Ripple. We met at a park I'd once pushed a stroller through a place where he and I had laughed feeding ducks. I wore a simple navy dress and my mother's pearls because sometimes the most radical thing is to keep your own dignity. A crowd gathered. Neighbors, commuters, cameras. And Tyler's voice came out thin first, then steadier as he said the words everyone wanted to hear. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." He admitted the post, the recording, the eviction. People cheered, some cried, others held up phones. It felt like mercy, loud enough to be uncomfortable. But I wasn't looking for applause. I told them about the nights I crawled to pick up quarters at a grocery store because some bureaucratic error froze my food benefits the week before. I spoke about being dismissed at job interviews because of gray hair, about the small humiliations that add up until they become a life. Then I announced what I was going to do with what I had. And that was the part that made people shift in their seats. I set up the Invisible Hands Fund, $500 million to fund elder care initiatives, housing for folks just like the people in that shelter, and financial literacy programs for people who'd never been taught how money can work for them. I offered Tyler a role. Not because he deserved the keys, but because redemption is earned by work, not words. He took the position sleeves rolled up, looking like a man who'd been reshaped by consequence. The news cycles did what they do. They packaged it into bite-sized outrage and inspiration depending on the channel. People debated on forums. Was it right to hide wealth? Was she wrong to make forgiveness public? Did this punish the young or teach them? I wanted them to argue. I wanted people to squirm in their certainty. Finale. The question that lingers. Here's the thing I want you to sit with, which is worse. Hiding your wealth to protect the people you love, or hiding your pain so people can explain you away. I chose the former because I was terrified of what money can do to a family. It nearly cost me everything because protecting someone's image isn't the same as protecting their heart. Maybe the real failure was not money or silence, but a culture that measures worth by rent checks and Instagram posts. So, I'll ask you straight. Have you ever assumed someone's story because of the way they look? Have you ever watched someone humiliated and thought, well, they probably deserved it? Or did you ever hide something to shield someone else, and that hiding backfired? Tell me in the comments. Be honest. Be blunt. Was June right to make this public? Was Tyler wrong to throw his mother out? Is forgiveness something you should be made to earn in public? Or is private apology enough? If this hit you anywhere, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop your story below, especially if you were underestimated or you underestimated someone else. Subscribe if you want to hear more real people doing messy human things, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Because the world gets quieter when we stop telling honest stories, and someone out there needs to know they're not invisible. My name is June Carter. I lost a house. I found a voice, and I chose to turn that voice into something that makes life a little less invisible for the next person. What's your story?